This is AV SuperFriends Off the Rails, an almost regularly scheduled open discussion on audio and video in higher education. We'll sound off about our most brilliant ideas, our dumbest mistakes, and everything in between. And because this conversation will almost certainly go off the rails at some point, we'll end up covering just about everything else. And now, the AV SuperFriends. For June 21st, 2024, it's the best-sounding podcast in higher ed. This is the AV SuperFriends Off the Rails, broadcasting live to tape from coast to coast, easternmost to westernmost, northernmost to southernmost, gate post to hitching post. I'm your local host who can boast the most milquetoast and utmost humility. I'm Chris Decker, time for another Friday afternoon podcast adventure. And it's our first Friday in a couple of weeks we've all been together on this stuff.
It's been a while, but hey, we got like a really long day to get this in. This is a lot of sunlight for this show.
It is the longest day of the year.
I know.
It feels like it.
Yeah, it does. It
Hold on your butts. We'll just go really, really long.
And a full moon and
what?
Was the full moon also?
Witch's Coven?
This is going to be...
Well, that's later.
Oh, I see. Some sort of human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together. All right. Well, anyway.
How did you know? Did you get the invite?
So let's say hello. Let's say hello. That's tough to say. I'm going to change that. So let's say hello to today's panel of AV SuperFriends. Let's do this one. Today I'm joined by a central accountability architect from Kansas City, Jamie Reinhardt.
Gathering around the bonfire tonight.
For architecting?
Sure.
Also joined by a human intranet planner from Corvallis, Oregon, Mark Kolowazinski.
We got to get in there, figure it all out. But keep it local, but think globally.
We're also joined by a dynamic ideation administrator from Greensboro, North Carolina, Larry Darling.
Something about dynamic administration just doesn't work.
No.
Dynamic ideation administration.
Think about it.
And finally, we're joined by our Vice President for Legacy Interactions from Bowling Green, Kentucky, Justin Rexing.
Very legacy of you. Very, very legacy of you.
VP needs to call in sick.
Are you sure
have
that was
option.
Infection? Legacy infections?
Yeah.
A Vice President for Legacy Infections.
So the Vegas Funk was 1 for 5 this year. Well, actually 1 for 3, I guess.
33% of you died on that trip.
Yeah.
I'm on vacation starting tomorrow, so it better have kept with
And
you.
I'm guessing I got this from Biamp. I'm just going to throw that out
just going to call him out for straight up.
Yeah.
Blame Hooper.
The swag from Biamp.
Well, we were with Hooper last, and then we went to the airport, and guess who I saw and sat right next to?
You don't do that. You never sit next to Hooper.
And everybody at Biamp. So, Biamp, this is your fault.
Well, get Shirley on the line. Let me see how she's feeling.
Speaking of announcements from Biamp, so on today's show, we're going to discuss the best things you didn't see at InfoComm and the best things we didn't see at InfoComm.
Apparently viruses.
But first, and it's not the news because we decided we're going to be talking about the news anyway, so we're not doing a news segment. Instead, what I'm going to do here is just run the news clip so we can all hear Justin sing along with it, and then we'll just jump right into our section.
Yeah, that sounds fair. Let's hear it.
Here we go.
Go, Justin.
We like this
do
part.
It live.
Yeah. Healthy Justin.
We just all enjoy
so
how
much
excited
better.
he is. So.
I would much rather be healthy Justin right now.
Yeah.
So I would say overall reactions, InfoComm, I think that the two themes we saw a lot were lots of cloud services, lots of cloud-connected services.
Let me see. I wasn't there. Let me ask this question. So,
you want to ask what so I can answer that?
Yes. Yes. Let's not do this. What flavor was InfoComm?
Cloud services. Oh, sorry. What?
If you had to give it a flavor, what would your flavor be?
Rum raisin. What the hell does that mean?
Yeah, I have no idea what that question
Grape.
Grape.
It's
Kool-Aid.
grape.
From what we saw from afar, rum raisin kind of fits.
Yeah, I was going to go somewhere between rum raisin and vanilla. Somewhere in there is what I was going for.
I don't know. InfoComm's one of those shows. I don't know about you guys, but it's one where everybody like, what's going to be the big thing? It's like, well, there's rarely ever a big thing. There's just themes and kind of general, shared similarities you see. So, I don't know.
It's the real time march of everybody coming to the middle. Meet us.
So
there.
I would say if there's two themes, if you want to say flavors, and two flavors, the flavors are not as much AI as expected, and I think because last year was AI everything. And this year, I think they dialed it back a bit. Though after talking with people about some of their products and services, the AI definitely shows up in there, but they were not front and center with that.
Yeah, if you have to say your thing is AI, just no, you missed it.
No.
Right? Don't use it as a marketing ploy at this point.
And then a lot of cloud services stuff. So yeah,
which is still odd. I think that might fail worse than AI.
I think that that was on our prediction show, I believe, that cloud hosted rigmarole. Yeah.
But every time you would have a conversation with whatever the group was about, well, how can I implement this? It never ended well. Like, it was always like, well, yeah, I don't think that's going to work.
There's probably very few spigots labeled cloud connected. This is where you plug in the cloud port.
Yeah, it's like, what do you mean you can't get to the internet from that?
For example, Biamp was pushing they have a new software, and we talked about it briefly in our perspective show from their booth, but they have a new platform which will lump together the scheduling side of things as well as like the new version of their Sage View, which they'll roll that in. It's not shipping yet. This is all coming, in the next 6 to 8 months or whatever.
Vaporware.
And I asked that question: how am I connecting my devices to your new cloud-hosted Sage View, for example? And it was, every response I got was, oh, let's go see if we can find such and such. Maybe they know. So, no, they don't. They have an announcement. They have a concept. They have, here's future plans. What they don't have is it's not a real thing yet, because of all. I think as they get into that, they realize, wait, there's more things we have to figure out before we can just roll out a new platform.
Yeah, I always like the end product. I like where they're going. I don't see a way of ever getting there.
All of you listening, all 4 of you that are doing this kind of like development, please be able to clearly articulate how you're doing your session initiation to your endpoints. Own that, please, and be able to, whoever you're marching out into the field to sell this, be able to clearly articulate that data story, because it becomes the hill we're all going to die on. For all of them, and do
you mean like the protocol they're using for communication?
However, I want to know the directionality.
It's all going to be SNMP.
But how are we expecting to take inquiries from outbound in, inbound out? Is there a Trojan horse sitting in my network? Is there a box, or what? How are we doing it? Do we have data in firewall traversal that we have to deal with? Like, I'm glad you have dashboards.
Everything's got a public IP.
Sure, it doesn't. But like, it always kind of deteriorates when we get into that level of conversation, but look at the dashboard. It has smiley faces and arrows and thingies and widgets and offline status.
And I don't envy them, because all of our networks are set up differently. And so they're going to have this conversation so many times to come up. It's got to be a difficult solution to roll out.
Yes, I want it, and I want to see more of it. I want to see it done right, and I'm an advocate for those who want to try to do it. But don't do it cheaply and like insecure. Like, make sure it's right.
I find that too many of them also don't want to just give you the ports and like the white paper about how all the communications and the ports. They're like, no, that's secret. It can't be, or we can't make it work. You've got to release that information.
That's proprietary intellectual property, Jamie. That number that we're not going to disclose to you is a secret.
You're right. Wireshark that shit and be done with it.
That's proprietary, and then they can keep it.
I'm just saying, it's reality. I mean, you just figure it out.
But it will definitely be a conversation for the next year or plus or more.
Well,
I think we're all involved in this somehow, and it's the question of how is it going to get there. And I'll just say on the outset, if you want me to install third-party rando, possibly and suspiciously looking like a Raspberry Pi running some other software on it, on my network, your product is dead in the water.
Yeah.
Microsoft is just sitting over there snickering at all this stuff. They're like, look what they're doing. Like, they're doing it like that. Oh, God, how stupid are they?
No, when Microsoft can figure out element height, they can speak up.
They don't care about that.
I know they don't care about that. Tell me, pretty obvious they don't care about that.
Anyway, like you were saying, Chris,
I didn't see them at the show.
Yes. So
where were they at again?
Yeah, Microsoft.
They're omnipresent. They're everywhere. Don't worry about it.
Well, that's a good point. Microsoft was in almost every damn booth, but there was nobody from Microsoft there.
I didn't see anything.
They don't have to be.
I didn't see their logo. Don't have to be. I didn't see their name.
No, I did. Everywhere.
Yeah.
I heard people talking about
me
teams.
when I saw it. Where would you do it?
I guess I'd block it out.
The person winning the race needs to run no faster.
Yeah.
So they don't give a shit. Like they're just like, whatever. We're here.
I got an email today, and I won't say from whom, but one of the companies came out and said our device, our box, our widget, our whatever thing is now, I think they said it's now team certified. So they were announcing that basically, and they're now saying it's now certified for Teams, and the way they phrased it was, it's certified for both platforms. You choose whichever one you want. And I thought, there's a third fucking option, and that's I don't use either of those, and I'm not buying your bullshit. So
you bend to your knee,
FYI.
You shall bow to me.
All right. Anyway, so on Friday, 1 week ago today, on Friday as we speak, actually.
You guys are like in the middle of being hungover during this right now.
Let's see, would have been 1 to 12:15. We would have just finished. Yes,
just finished. Yeah.
So just about 1 week ago, as we record this, we hosted the ever popular AV SuperFriends secret show floor tour of all the best stuff you have not seen at InfoComm. And that's generally because a lot of the show floor tours are paid to play based on sponsorship or prearranged visits with Avixa. And it's very managed and very regimented. And we're like, no. We're going to go find stuff. We don't know what's going to be on the tour until we get there. And then the first 2 days, we find a bunch of interesting things, and then we add those to the tour, and then we go look at those specifically from the higher ed standpoint on Friday. So we have our list, and I have received multiple emails and requests from people. I couldn't make it to the tour, etc. Are you guys going to talk about what you saw? And the answer is yes, right now. So,
and for a moment, do you want to just shed a little bit of light on how much Avixa doesn't like these impromptu tours?
I don't know. They don't like them. I don't care. They can't stop me.
We've gone through great lengths to try to get these to be official, and every time it's no.
Before there was a significant change in leadership at Avixa, these were official tours.
Yeah, but they don't like us doing this. But anyway, we do it for you all because it's important for you all. So without further ado, Chris.
All right. So I have these in order. So Larry and Justin and I were on these tours. We are going to go through these in order and talk about what we saw and bring them up. And there will be links in the show notes. So as you're listening to this on your car stereo or your ear pods or whatever, scroll down.
Scroll links. And go live. Jamie and I are going to play poor unsuspecting victim of this tour. You're going to give us the tour, and please act it out as you did the day of. Larry, I want to see you frantically running, trying to stay ahead of the group. I want to hear all the banter, so please do your best.
That means I'm not part of this. So I'm going to take off now.
Bye, Larry. So yes, Larry was running and gunning as far as getting booths ready for a squadron of people to show up all in one shot. So anyway, our first stop was at Inogeni, I don't know, to look at their USB video boxes, specifically the Toggle line. They have unfortunately, it's one of those ones where they have a huge line of these under that brand name, but there's a new one which is specific for room systems and bring your own meeting stuff, so you can come in and drive stuff from your laptop, etc., using the room system in there. But that box, most importantly, does not require a true room system. It works with, I just have a PC in there and a bunch of widgets. So it seems like it's a nice, clean way to provide a USB output connection that gives the camera and mic feeds and all that stuff for someone to bring in their own laptop and drive.
And they have an XT version that allows you to have the base unit in the rack or at the monitor, and then a laptop connection anywhere else in the room, and it still works, which is kind of nice.
So I think, did they announce this just before the show?
This is a brand new one that I don't think it's even yet shipping. I think they announced this.
Yes. I looked at this, I was like, wow, there was a lot of hype about Inogeni, whoever that was. I was like, wow, they got like a lot of press right now. And was this the widget that they were pressing?
Probably. I didn't see it. I didn't see the hype, but yeah.
And so would you say this is a BYOD play specifically, or no?
It adds BYOD and BYOM, which they actually used quite a bit in the in our standard rooms. Like how I've always been anti both of those. Like, I have a PC, use the PC. Well, this at least enables the possibility of expanding to those.
Okay. Well, I think it's a curious kind of a device as far as I look at it. That like what's going on with the switcher? Like what's switching there?
Well, and that's the thing. I think they're doing some re-encoding of signals, but it's not doing traditional USB switching. Where I don't know about you guys, but I keep finding them on my campus by people who don't understand USB, and that it's more involved than just simple electronic or mechanical switching. It's electronic, and you have to have software disconnects as well. So,
but so is it? Well, I'm playing super dumb here, and you guys just go along with it, or I'm being normal. Do you need to swing things that way? Or is it like disconnect this PC, connect this PC? Is that what's going on? Because it says like devices between two PCs. Is that that's their intent to like wholesale move this infrastructure over to this other computer?
I've had requests for it, and I've always been hesitant because in the past, that's one of those things that kind of makes me queasy.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I use it in certain areas where... Yes, maybe it has, like the conservatory, it's a 50-50. We have a Windows PC provided, but they may also use Logic on their Mac or something, whatever. And I find it just easier to be able to switch from the one to the other. I've been curious about this company and their products for a while, but not enough to get one. And this is getting... I didn't like the one with all the buttons on it. But this is getting closer to, okay, I might actually spring for this.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's like it has a niche too, because like if you're in a larger system, we all have other ways of doing this. But for like those small conference rooms that might be a tier 0-5B or whatever, this might be a good fit for those.
I don't walk into that trap layer. You can lay it out there all you want. I'm not going to fall in there.
This is my 5C.
Yeah. I'm like, I still haven't determined if I'm going to go down that road. If I'm going to allow and wholly swing the infrastructure to allow that capability. I just don't.
If it
it's
said
fraught
Microsoft,
with peril.
you
I'm just
would.
not. Well, I wouldn't have to.
Oh, wait. Sorry.
Just you're there now.
Now I'm
I
just
don't know.
being a
Like,
jerk.
I'm just kind of. I get it, and I think it's like one or the other to me, not both. But anyway, so I'm intrigued by this product just for like that capability. But I don't know.
and so it's doing USB extension and some of the switching, I think, through one of the newer protocols in HDBaseT version 3. So there's things going on there.
Oh, it is an HDBaseT. Okay.
Yeah, and I know that everyone else hates HDBaseT. So yeah.
Do you find yourself looking for things that use HDBaseT just to gain trust? Because there's lots of extension service capability things out there that all have their own little proprietary. This is Klingon Net or wherever the hell it is. Like this, at least, like if it's HDBaseT, I'm like, oh shit, I might be able to trust that. Yeah.
When I'm trying to do something like this, like a laptop at a table, and I need that one wire to the wall, yes, I've been going back to HDBaseT because most of the time it just kind of works and is known product. But yeah.
Well,
and has a wide support from especially projector displays.
Right.
You can run those in.
Cool.
Not all the time, but I have run across increasing devices that don't seem to play nice with just straight into a projector. So,
take us to the next booth. Go.
Next
Run.
booth. So all right, Larry has to run over and
You guys
tell
don't
the
have
next
the booth
booth.
numbers. I thought you guys would at least have the booth numbers in here.
They're right
Yes,
here.
they're
They're
all
all
in
there.
there.
All their
Yeah.
freaking
Central
notes.
Hall still.
Okay, we're Central Hall. Okay, sorry.
Oh, yeah. By the way, we did not go to West Hall. This year's, for those of you who were not there, this year's InfoComm was spread between two halls that were 7 miles apart. So Avixa fixed that shit. It was terrible, and we focused our tour just on Central Hall. So
Because we had to.
And honestly, West Hall was just displays.
Just shut up about it.
All right. So next up was Hovercam.
Ooh.
And specifically to look at the eGlass display, which I will phrase thusly, and the reason we put it on the tour, it's been out for a number of years, but the reason I put it on the tour, I hate that these light board things are a thing. I hate them because every time they're put together, this is the right backwards with a grease pen, and you have to flip your image. These things are built out of widget and tchotchke town. There are, they use a decimator to flip this, and they're doing that with cameras. And it's terrible, and it requires 27 minutes for somebody to set up every time. Yes, I get it. You go back and look at the original one from, I think it was San Diego State or somewhere, and everyone since then has been that just terrible. So I hate that. However, what I love about this product is that it exists as a single turnkey USB. Plug this in and it goes. So for people, for people listening, if you get that request from somebody on your campus, they want a light board, fantastic. Go to Hovercam, have them buy an eGlass, and you're done. It is awesome.
It looks to be about the right size also.
I think there's two sizes.
All my Zoom and Teams meetings are going to have this with like overlay from here on out.
Are they certified?
Shit, yeah, they better be.
They better be.
I have a certified adapter you can put in it.
I'm mounting these on a shoulder rig so I can walk around with it.
I'm not seeing it.
See, I'm not seeing a lot of certifications either.
I sell a service certifying all these things, by the way.
The little wireless teaching station was kind of intriguing.
Nope. The trolley, are we getting on?
Sorry, that was me clicking random shit.
Yeah, the wireless presentation and teacher station thing was more interesting than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, so I was going to point that out. So we went to the Hovercam booth. So at each of these booths, we picked one thing. We're going to this to look at this thing. Oftentimes, the manufacturers didn't know what they had, and there's like 20 people now crammed into one tiny corner of their booth.
I almost thought it was like a different company the way I had it set up. It was kind of over here, shoved in the corner, and we were all looking at this other thing over here, and I was like, "What's this?" Running around.
So when we went to Hovercam, we went to look at the eGlass. But next to it, to your point, Justin, next to it was the Pilot teaching station, which also has been out for a number of years. But the one they were showing off is also brand new, prototype, whatever, not yet shipping, etc. And these are the for lack of a better term, a wireless. It's a lectern, and by wireless I mean there's a big old freaking battery in there, so it's like a 6 or 8 hour battery. So the idea is you can have a computer plugged in or laptops or multiple people throughout the day, and it will keep running, but you don't have to be connected. And what the other thing I liked about it is the wireless connectivity they had was bi-directional. It was not proprietary. It was a dedicated point-to-point transmitter and receiver system on the 60 gig range, so it's way up there. Yeah. Don't stand between that. It will probably cook your food in your pocket.
Does this thing have like a level 2 charger? Like, bang, it goes in there. It's like a 10 kilowatt thing.
It requires 3-phase, so watch out.
But on nuclear power, probably.
It's bi-directional, so it sends video from your laptop or your installed computer, I suppose, to the display, to the system, but also gets USB back for interactivity. So it's actually pretty slick. It's not something I'm going to widely deploy in 150 classrooms, but for those oddball spaces or you're teaching a learning center or something on campus, it's a pretty slick device that we didn't expect to really look at, but we spent probably as much time looking at that as we did the eGlass.
For those active learning spaces where the instructor has to be able to walk around and reconfigure the room, it might be an interesting solution for them.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And so, the Pilot's been around for a while, but this is the new version, which is pretty interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Just
so then we marched over to
broadcast microwave. Jeez.
Added bonus, it comes with a foil lined pack that you can put your lunch in.
Oh.
And then you set that in the middle of it, and by the time your class is done, your food is cooked.
Do you get one of those X-ray aprons too? The iron aprons,
the lead apron,
to protect your privates.
Don't put the transmitter in your pocket. Okay. Then we went over to Liberty AV, specifically to look at their CX Detect central cloud monitoring product or platform agnostic cloud monitoring service, which they've been working on for a couple of years, and they've made huge strides in just the last year, both on the interface as well as the capabilities.
I'll say that Liberty, this is a departure from their identity as an organization, I believe. Like, they're really trying to move away from like, we're a cable company, we're a box widget, to like, this is a different play for them. And so I applaud them. I've gotten a lot of contact from different representatives from Liberty that they want to listen to try to make this right. So
sorry,
I'm excited for all, and this is very like what we started the show talking about, these cloud-based monitoring and reporting packages. Like, what does it look like? How does it work? And seeing what they have in this, it's intriguing. It really is.
And I think we need to watch it because it's going to grow and there's more to come. I mean, we've seen that, and it's software, so they're going to keep developing on it.
But they do, from what I've heard in the conversations I've had, they are very attentive to the higher ed vertical specific in this product because they want to make sure it works that way.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but in talking with them, they also mentioned that there might be an on-prem option for this, and that would alleviate some of my concerns.
It is
I think to Mark's
I
think to Mark's comment there that they want the higher ed customers for this, and so Larry, to your point, then that is something that has come up a number of times. Hey, I can't just expose all my random devices to the wider interwebs. That's dangerous. Nor can I get your mysterious unknown white label box from unknown company and just plug it into my network. So they need a version that would be on-prem or some option for that, or can I host this in my VM in my data center or something? So
yeah, I have seen some of the roadmap for this product and had some of those discussions like above and beyond just what was seen at InfoComm, and what's coming down the road is very interesting and how they're going to go about doing this. I think stay tuned for details on this product. I think it is a step in a direction that it should be. But we'll see. I think there's a lot of competition kind of coming out in this cloud world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was 5 or 6 Symphony and Pure Arrays or whatever from Kramer with the inscrutable name
Panta-Ray
of these types of systems. So definitely a growth segment. We'll see how they shake out though. But
yeah. Okay.
All right. So after that, we went over to Apantac or Apantac, or I don't know. Yes.
It's a widget factory.
They didn't know what they had. They had quite a large booth, but we were there to look at one thing, and then there was a little box next to it, which was kind of cool with the SDI ingest.
I saw this in our back channel. Okay.
So fundamentally, this is a tiny little widget, like Jamie said. It's a widget that is an HDMI loop, has an HDMI loop through, input output sort of thing, but then acts as a Dante on-ramp for 16 channels of Dante audio off of your HDMI port, which is one of those things that I've not seen one of these before.
So it's an audio encoder stripper outer for Dante audio.
It's the HDMI to Dante.
Sweet. It's the de-embedder. So you get up to the 16, and it looks like it's also the decoder. So it will decode the DTS or Dolby and then stream it out, it looks like.
Wait, it'll embed it back?
No, just puts it into direct streams direct streams off of into Dante so that you can take 16 streams someplace else and do something with them.
Yeah,
but that's always been one of our issues when we deploy some of these products is how do you de-embed HDMI audio to get it transmitted somewhere?
Well, you can with 2 or 3 boxes, but you don't want to do it with 2 or 3 boxes. So now you have this, and it does it in one box.
I just need 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah, I saw some little advertisement blurb, and I sent it to you guys. It says, I want to know more about this.
Yeah, so this was one of Jamie's finds based on stuff that was announced, or I don't know if it was just the general manufacturing things or whatever. And he said, whoa, go find this thing and look at it. So... and yeah, this is, again, not something you're going to buy 200 of these and put them in every one of your classrooms. You're going to have 2 or 3 for your entire campus. But, they will save
you need them
where you need them, and they will save your butt for those event venues, multi-purpose spaces, etc. When you've got something weird going on.
If you are a live person, if you're doing an event space, hotel spaces, or that kind of, it has to be in your toolbox.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm also thinking about press box in the athletics facilities and things. Just someone brings in their random ass laptop, plug that in, boom, audio right off of it into the system. So.
Go. Sweet.
All right. So then we went over to Revolution Acoustics, small company out of Quebec, with something that we've all seen before. And Larry, this was your find. I'll let you talk about it. But
and initially I just wrote them off. Like when I walked. I saw what they were doing. We've all seen those speakers or drivers that you put on a pane of glass, and it creates a speaker out of the glass or your table. They have always sounded like crap. Like it's never been worth your time to really.
I've never even seen one of the concept of this.
I've seen those for like 15 years. Like
really?
Back in my interpreter days, they tried to get us to sell them, and I was like, no, it's horrible.
The little exciters.
Yeah, exactly. So I was on my way running from Hall C to Hall W, and I passed by this booth,
which took 6 years.
And I was like, wow, that sounds really good, because it filled the entire area with audio. Well, it turns out it's these little new drivers that they have. They were actually using a sheet of MDF as their background on their booth. And they had some of these on the MDF, and it sounded really good.
You can go 2-3 booths away, and it was like, damn.
And it was a consistent audio soundscape all around their booth.
I was trying to, they had 2 or 3 boxes there, and I was like, do you really need to take these back? What if I just take one, and that you got less luggage? It's like, because I really want 2 for the house to experiment with, because that was some astonishing physics that they were
alien technology
us.
Going on here.
Yeah,
is that what you're telling me?
No, what it is just basic physics, but they're leveraging whatever surface it's attached to as functionally as the speaker.
It's kind of like a pushing physics. Like let's see how far we can go, and it still sounds good. It's like throw it on glass, throw it on wood, throw it in. I don't know. Is it fiberglass?
Do you have to like set anything on it, or is it just dumb? Like just
it's dumb as shit, and you just
They're just little 8-ohm transducers, just like you ripped a speaker apart and stuck it on there.
Yeah, it's about the size of 3 hockey pucks stacked together.
Okay.
And they have multiple attachment options and things. Very, very cool, very interesting. One of the scenarios I was talking with their engineer about was conference rooms. They have mounted these to the underside of the conference room table, and the table itself is being used as the speaker.
I'm just going to make the glass walls be all the speakers.
Or that, any sort of just flat surface. But it's interesting for those of us who have conference rooms that are inevitably in the oldest building on campus or in some sort of architecturally terrible space that's got custom wall treatments and slatted ceilings and things, and getting audio into a space that was never designed to have it is a challenge. And so this is a good option to do. And it seems like it's a very clever solution for something that, like I said, it's existed for years. But these sounded really good. And it gives you some options for some spaces.
It is pretty clever.
The other place I'm thinking about trying it is I'm putting in a video wall this fall, and it's replacing a rear projection space, a rear projection screen. So we have a void back there, which we are just framing out with MDF to mount our video wall to, and I'm going to put some of these on there, and now I have basically program audio coming from behind the video wall. So. See how that goes. May just shake that thing and have it fall off the wall. I don't know.
There you go. Cool.
All right. So next up, we went over to Squirrels, which was a pile of squirrels
we have downtown. Yeah.
Yes.
I think everybody's got that bar downtown in a college town.
It's always cash only. Yeah. It's cash only.
It's right next to
Every
Shooters.
Bartender has a beard
and Hot Pockets.
Yep.
Or the Hot Pocket.
The same 12 people have been in there, and they're in there all the time.
And probably a ponytail and a beard, more than likely.
Sound guys hanging out in there.
Yeah.
And we looked at the software option from Squirrels called Ditto.
Ditto.
And Ditto is basically your wireless sharing appliance as software.
Oh, they finally did it. All right.
Well, this has been around for, again, a number of years, but it's...
People have been toying with this.
There are some schools, some very large schools, that have large deployments of this. And it's interesting to me that it runs on Windows or Mac, any computer. It also runs on Apple TVs, which is an interesting play, because I think we've talked about this a lot, that wireless sharing appliances always come with like 27 features, of which we use one of them. We don't use any of the annotation. We don't use any of the 4-up window boxing or any of that stuff. We don't use any of the file sharing or any of that. No, just I want to show my device on the thing at the front of the room. That's it. And what I like about this is it gives you the option to run that on the computer that's already in the room, like God intended. And it still puts the instructor in charge of it. They have to launch the receiver application. So they're still in charge of, for lack of a better term, switching to that. But it also means it's one less physical device I have to put in my classroom spaces. I don't have to have a proprietary little widget box that sits there and shows a wireless receiver. So
for those of you crazy universities out there that put Apple TVs out there because it's easy and you have a management service for it and your network allows for it, which I don't know why we do that, but we do. This is actually a really cool product. Because now I can say, well, we can do Apple TV, and if you buy this software, we can include PCs as well. It's like it's a whole thing. for your conference room or whatever. These things usually go in
Can they
conference
just
rooms.
launch this as a web page already? Can we just do this as a web page?
Classrooms normally.
It's not quite that clean,
stuff.
but Justin, you're right. If you have Apple TVs, or if you already have Apple TVs in your network, then and if they're tied to management, because you'll need that.
It solves a big
This is an
problem.
option for what, $100. You can get this out there and just to let people show their stuff on a screen. There is also a digital signage component, kind of basic, but if you just want to show slides and video through your digital signage platform in a, Justin, to your point, hey, I'm going to put one of these in the conference room, and when that's not in use, I can show stuff on it.
Yeah.
So why not? University of Central Florida has a bunch of these deployed, and they use them in like cuddle spaces, informal spaces, where students can walk up there and they switch over their digital signage displays to now a informal, cuddle sharing space. So
get together, cuddle it up.
Anyway, so my intention, I'm working with my network team to get these, to get the software ports opened up. But
so you're going to try this?
I'm going to do it with software, because I'm going to just deploy it on.
Squirrels?
I'm going to do it with Ditto, yes.
Ditto?
All on my on the installed computers, yeah. Because I'm not putting in wireless sharing appliances anymore.
Well, no, I'm not either. But
I'm toying with that. Like, for taskable stuff, like, could you, with a control system, trigger an application launch?
yeah,
Let's just pretend you can.
But why would you?
Because
why do you want to do that?
I
don't
think
pretend that your computer needs to be on a
I'm
separate
going to
thing
put a
as all your other
PowerPoint
stuff.
button on
Get
my
over
touch
it.
panel.
yes.
That's effectively the utility that you should be thinking about.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't disagree from the convenience standpoint, but at the same time, why am I doing that when people are comfortable using computers? And if they're not capable
Then get rid of
or
your touch
willing,
panel. Pick one.
okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
If
Yeah,
they're not
I-
willing or capable to go to the icon at the bottom for PowerPoint and click it, there's a certain minimum level of usability needed here.
So what UI do we need them to be? One common, or are we still in split world here? But that's a topic for another show.
Split world.
I think my issue with some of these kind of products, or even Mark, the idea of a web-based version, is that you still have to log on to the PC in order to use your other
Like
thing.
God intended.
And so why are we even using another software when we can just use the one everybody knows?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Zoom and Teams,
it
which is-
enables different feature sets, obviously.
That's been my biggest gripe about some of these is I love the idea of, to your point, Mark, just open a browser and go. And more devices are just coming with a stupid browser anyway, so it should be easier. But
we all seen the WebRTC beta test screen share. It's out there. It works.
Yeah.
You go to the web page.
Yeah, but it hasn't moved in like 3
Yeah, I know.
years.
Like, but it's open source. Like, what's going on here, guys? Go get it.
That's the problem. It's open source.
Which means it's awesome.
Goes
Also
highly
known as the
polished.
fundamental backbone of all your other sharing for your Teams and Zoom.
Yeah, that's why that works so well. All right, then. So after the Squirrels, we went over to Listen Technologies, I suppose, to look at their new AURI Bluetooth system.
Now, this was something that I learned quite a bit at their booth about. Like, I had
Actually,
no
you
idea.
pigeonholed that guy
You
and
got
would not
I
back
was
down.
Q&A-ing him, and I didn't really mean to drag him through the mud, but I kind of
Justin
did
stepped
anyway.
between like the crowd of people and the guy, and
was
just like backed him up against the
moving
wall.
my way up there. So basically, think of this
you
as...
essentially
Listen here,
got this
man.
guy sick too, huh?
Yeah,
Hey,
probably.
come here.
Coughed on him a lot.
breathe
Well,
with me
this
for a
was-
little while.
This was before Biamp. And Biamp is 100% guilty for making me feel like shit today. So, F you, Biamp.
Man,
Just for
You'll be
today.
my friend again when I get
I don't
better.
think you can prove that in the court of law. sir.
No, but I'm 97.3% sure.
so you're saying
98.6.
there's a chance.
But this Bluetooth stuff, it's like one-way Bluetooth broadcast. So this is awesome, and here's why. Because all these effing consultants out there are like, oh, we're gonna do Wi-Fi, and they'll be listen assisting everywhere throughout your whole building, and it'll be kumbaya, and it's all gonna be great, and they don't really think things through. This solves that problem.
up
So
this
if you don't want to do
Wi-Fi
IR and you don't want to do RF, and you're like, maybe I shouldn't be doing Wi-Fi, this new Bluetooth thing's your answer.
I like the idea of Bluetooth broadcast.
It's like one to many. It's not two-way highway, and it's
Yes.
like multicast, but it's blue, and it's concentrated, right? So it doesn't go everywhere.
Just
you
add
can
water.
dial it back, so it's in your little classroom.
And I've seen some of those silent discos use this sometimes. And then I've seen it for like car stereos when you have your, with the kids and things. but it's always been kind of clunky. So the fact that they're putting this in here,
and proprietary.
I really like it. I really like it that they're using Bluetooth, that anybody's device with anybody's head, they just connect to it and they're getting it.
Well, not anybody's device.
You can use your phone.
No, it's not quite that clean.
This is the best part. So I started Q&A him so much. We started talking about the phones and the Bluetooth market.
Yes.
And Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, but basically what he said was your current phones with the Bluetooth chips already have this built in, but it's not turned on yet.
Correct.
And when it gets turned on, it's going to open up a whole new world of features for your phones that you really didn't think about. So think about being able to broadcast to 1,000 people from your phone content for a presentation for whatever reason or anything like that. That's going to be...
So, a couple of points of clarification here. It is Bluetooth. Okay. It is not any Bluetooth device. They have to have a chipset that supports it.
It's
however,
a very specific Bluetooth version.
Yes, and it is, but it
Turquoise
is.
tooth.
Listen Tech and others have been they're part of the Bluetooth SIG, the special interest group.
Yes,
this is a new standard from the Bluetooth SIG. So you will see this from multiple hardware manufacturers. So apparently, the newest iPhones, the newest Galaxy phones, the newest Pixel phones, probably the higher end ones of all of those support that. Some of the newer headphones that come out that do the multi-channel spatial audio stuff, some of those already support it. But again, like Justin said, it's not been enabled by any of them because I believe this is still a draft spec that they're all working on as far as the actual software behind it.
There's going to be a little bit of security issues with this too. I mean, like long range, one to many. That's probably why it's still in the lab
radio
and they haven't turned it on every phone yet because it'd be.
I think it's also a power thing too. Like you have to, most likely you'll have to go into your phone and like go to the Bluetooth thing and switch it to this mode. Yeah, to like toggle the mode.
It's probably one or the other. You can't do both modes at the same time.
I would guess that's what we're going to see because Bluetooth, as I understand Bluetooth current implementation being bidirectional send receive, they'll basically switch the radio over to a different mode for like a radio receiver basically.
So I guess you would have to switch to the ARIA mode, but then also switch to listen or transmit mode.
Something,
because because it's one way only. So
this sounds like there's an app coming.
Absolutely. I mean, but it's a cool technology, and the fact that it's supported by multiple hardware manufacturers, you're going to see this from everybody. Sennheiser, Shure, and everyone else. They're all going to have something like this down the road.
Listen is right there.
And Listen, of course, Listen, Williams. You're going to see it from everybody. But they were the first one I saw who actually had the product out, and it's not yet shipping. I think it's shipping this fall, and they ship it right now. What they're going to do is they're going to ship it with their own receivers.
Yep.
But in working with our disability support group on campus, what we're finding is from students for assisted listening audio systems, they don't want to use the systems that we put in the rooms. They want to use their own hearing aids that they already have because they're already Bluetooth capable.
Scan and go.
Yeah. So now this alleviates all that Wi-Fi crap and multicast on your wireless network. Like this for me. This was worth going to the show of just learning about this.
This is it, huh? This is your golden nugget here?
Like it sounds stupid, but that was the one thing that I learned going to the show that I was like, man, I had no idea.
That's why you do it. That's the whole point. Yeah. You learned something.
And also, again, this was like this was in the Listen Tech booth, but it was like off to the side at the corner. It was not in the main section.
It was in the nooks and crannies.
It was like this
section.
little 2 foot wide, like at the end on a column. It was very
that's always the stuff. It was stuff you walk into a booth and you're like, well, what's that? And like, oh, you don't want to know about that. It's like, no, I want to know about the stuff you don't think I want to know about. Let's talk about that. Always. What's coming?
All right. So then our final stop, we'll stay in the audio realm. Our final stop was Catchbox. And we've all experienced Catchboxes, and we've all had people throw a sofa cushion at us that has a microphone in it.
Now, they really surprised me, Chris. I'll let you take it, but they were shocking.
Well, Larry downplayed it. Larry was like, we've already got that. I don't care about enough.
Catchbox was shocking what they were doing. I was like,
told you guys
why are we going to
this?
Catchbox?
No. Yeah. So, Mark, you met with them right before InfoComm. And you live tweeted out their non-product announcement, which to be fair, they've announced. Yeah. And I believe it's still not yet shipping, but it is like soon. Basically, what they have is a new Catchbox, call it an ecosystem or whatever. It's based on DECT, so you don't have to worry about the FCC selling off your shit yet until they start doing that. Dicks. Yeah. It is a 2-channel or 4-channel receiver that fits within a half rack form factor because why are all the other ones still like it's a half RU for every receiver? So you get like the 4-channel receiver from Shure and it's like 27 RU tall and 37 RU wide. So
they're half rack tall, but like take it on the side and tip it up. So it's actually like 5 RU, but only like a 16th of a rack for some weird reason.
I've seen adapter brackets for that stuff. Anyway, they have a new, for lack of a better term, lavalier microphone, but it is not a traditional lavalier microphone with a body pack or belt pack and a wired mic. It is an all-in-one, like the little who makes it Rode. Yeah. They do one that you see all the streamers and people wearing that they clip onto their shirt or they wear in a lanyard. Yep. It's that form factor microphone. It is compatible with the newer version of the traditional, for lack of a better term, sofa cushion Catchbox, but they have a new mic element that fits in there that they developed internally. They're kind of like a modular Omni capsule. It's kind of an interesting play on it. They have a handheld now, but it's not its own device. They basically take the lavalier, which again is an Omni capsule, and there's a mounted handle for it to just make it feel more comfortable. It's literally the same microphone transmitter. And then it all ties to this receiver, which is cool. But that receiver has optional. It has audio or analog audio in and out, like you would expect. It has USB bridging on it if you want to just plug it into your computer there. It has an optional version that has Dante on board, which is pretty freaking slick now. To say I can have a 2 or 4 channel microphone system in my auditorium or whatever with a single PoE Dante connection to it, and I'm done.
Has some analog outs as well.
With analog outs, yes. And I know people are saying right now, but I can get that from Shure, Sennheiser, Audio-Technica. Yes, you can. You can do that right now with other people's stuff. This is a very small new form factor. They are rethinking that. I will warn you, and they're well aware of it, they don't yet have a traditional rack mount system for it, but they are well aware that that's something they need to do.
It sounded like that maybe by next InfoComm they might have something out by then.
So to me,
I think that'll be out this fall because otherwise I'm just going to get one and 2 rack ears and I'll screw it into the side of it and do it myself because it's just a plastic box.
I think it's hard when you listen to like what you just said. Again, you probably would come away like, oh, it's microphones, it's a receiver, blah, blah, blah. I think you downplay the receiver. I think that is positioned more as a DSP than it is a receiver. And that's what I was telling you all.
Yes.
I think it's more because you have routing capability under the hood of that. It's web interface or USB connection. You can send, receive, and set up mixes on that receiver,
for those
which I think was amazing. Yes.
I mean, this is perfect where I don't have to have a $1,800 to $2,400 DSP. Yep. Oh, well, you can always buy $800 to $1,000. Yeah, but... yeah, then you got another box, and it's doing
with the microphones. The price is very attractive. I'll tell you that. With 2 channels of microphone, with that DSP, it's less than you're paying now for all that. I'll tell you that.
That's a good point, Mark. I guess I did misrepresent that in the sense the receiver is basically a small DSP. So it's got some analog I/O. It's got the USB bridging. It has the optional Dante if you want that. If you use their mics, it acts as a receiver. So for a small space, what I need, I need 2 microphones. I need some program audio out to a little amplifier or something. I need USB connection to a computer. This one box will do that, which is and it's in a small form factor as opposed to the rest of them, which are giant. So very slick option. I also want to point out they have a a charging dock for these.
Dock thing,
which is the first one I have ever seen that I think people might actually put stuff back on.
Because it doesn't matter which way it goes. You just magnet it, goes on there, and it goes.
It's magnetic. That's the thing. Yeah. It looks different. It stands up on like an angle off of your lectern, so it stands up. It's not like the ones you have to drop it into a slot and people can have it offset.
It was a good design.
It's not like the ones that use wireless Qi charging and they can have it off bit and it won't charge. This one, you get it near that thing and the pins align and it snaps on there. So I think that's a winner.
It was very clever.
Working with some company, some engineering company out of where? Switzerland or where did they say? So they've got
Finland.
That's what it was.
They're going to get mad at me for this because I can't remember.
I think you're right. It was Finland. I mean, I brought it up so they can get mad at me.
I think also
but you can probably see some changes coming from Catchbox. I mean, obviously they're working with new companies, new ideas.
They're rethinking microphones, and I like that because everybody else, you go get a Audio-Technica, Shure, Sennheiser, whatever, they're all basically the same thing, and it's been the same way for 40 plus years.
Yeah, I think they co-developed that secret sauce under the hood with another leading microphone / DSP company. I'm not going to name it, but it is co-developed.
They didn't name the company; they named the country. So some audio company from Finland. We'll have to do some research.
So anyway, that wraps up our tour. That was the AV SuperFriends secret show floor tour. of things you didn't see because you walked right past them while you were blinded to going to the giant booths. You were
too busy looking at your tickets to the
and your
Sphere.
Sonys and your Panasonics and all those, which who all make interesting stuff. But if you spent time at InfoComm only in the big booths, you're missing the best stuff.
Yeah, we did. And we didn't mention any cameras. Are we going to mention any cameras? Because there was one that everybody was talking about that I didn't see.
Are you going to do one extra one?
One extra one? Do we have enough time?
Judges,
we have time, but I don't know what the hell you're going to bring up.
It's a Sony camera without the outboard processor that does all the dual tracking of multiple people.
Right. I did not see it in action. I can't speak to it.
So apparently,
well, let's bring that up next because
it's next.
That was your tour
section.
Yeah, that was your tour. And then we'll go all the things that we wish we would have seen.
Jumping ahead. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, so let's take a quick break. We're going to come back and talk about the things that we didn't see there, because you always get back from InfoComm and find out that, crap, where was that thing?
So, damn it. Yeah.
So we'll take a quick break, come back, we'll talk about that. And we're going to debut a new commercial right now. Hold on to your butts.
Bring your sodas, bring your sodas, bring your sodas. Don't go on a job site without one. Bring 2 or 3 just to be sure. Bring your sodas. It's amazing, it's astounding, it's unbelievable. Bring your sodas. Don't take gigabytes and 6 pounds of pixel crushing resolution, smashing prehistoric insanity. If you forget to bring one with you to your next AV integration, you better be dead or in jail. And if you're in jail, blank out. Remember, when you go to a job site, don't forget to bring a sword. Another fine product by Independent Amalgamate.
Your voice is getting better, Chris. You're getting better hitting those high notes. Yeah.
That was really intense.
It was really intense. Yeah.
Our production budget
I wanted to headbang a
to
little
the
bit,
moon.
but I got
To the moon right now. Yes.
It doubled.
We spent like tens of dollars on that.
I think that's
tens of
actually
dollars.
I'm probably
what we spent.
yeah.
So I was chatting with one of the guys at Computer Conference at CCI, Chris Calavo, and he said his dad used to say, "This is a multi-dollar operation here."
Yeah.
So that's about where we are.
Yeah.
This is going to affect
Maybe
tens
less.
of people. What are
Tens
you
of
thinking?
you. Yes.
All right. So we wanted to cover
So
things
where
that
were we?
Yeah.
I kind of like
closing
that.
out
This
stuff.
is a multi-dollar operation.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
I've not heard that. That's a good
Have you
one.
not?
Well done.
So for this part, this we wanted to bring up the things we didn't see that we wish we would have, because there's so many products, there's so much stuff going on, there's so many announcements that, Justin, to your point about the camera, they apparently announced an interesting camera, and I'm not sure if this was the one they were showing off behind closed doors, if there was a different one or it was in their booth or what, but there's a lot of this sort of stuff that you get back, and the next week you read about not just other people's top 10 lists or whatever it was, but just general product announcements that you missed somehow. Sometimes the companies themselves don't know what they have. Mm-hmm. I'll just point out, I was not happy about getting dragged through the Legrand booth, for as large as Legrand is and as many things as they cover. And what did they really want to show me? Projection screens.
Well, now,
You're going to need this
whose
screen,
fault
Chris.
was that? That was not Legrand's
That was
fault.
my fault for agreeing to go there. Yes.
I knew. When you came back to the Acoustics booth, I was like, why did you even
pissed.
go? You knew.
I did it as a favor for somebody.
You knew what was
and
going to
it
happen.
bit me hard, and I got kicked in the teeth.
That was not Legrand's fault.
Well,
It happens.
I will say
It
this.
happens.
There's an intermediary
there's
that's not
one
even
or
being
two that happen
named.
that way.
No, that's
in
right.
this.
It
And
always
sometimes
happens that way.
you get passed off on your friend's friend, and
Oh,
Yeah, Mark did that.
we've all been there.
Don
We're like,
did-
hey, I gotta
DeMello
be
did
over
that
here
to
and over
me.
here. So can one of you go over here? And then you're like,
Yes.
God,
DeMello
damn
did
it.
that to me. I'm calling you out, Don. Last year, he's like, "Hey, have you ever met this guy? Great,
And then
go
he-
to
then
this
he
booth
peaced
with
out.
him." I'm like, "Oh God."
Well, I do that to
Yeah.
people when I'm done having a conversation with someone. I'll introduce the two and then walk off. So maybe Don was
So
done
what-
talking with you, Jamie. He was like, "I'm
But
done
What
with
did
this
you
shit."
find
my
in
point of
Sony?
that was my point of that was that sometimes these large companies they're not aware of the things they really should be focused on. So so Justin, back to the Sony thing, Sony camera.
So I basically said it earlier. I don't know shit about it other than like 10 people
All
talked to
right.
me about
Shit
it.
about it.
So I got to go research. I've been busy with being sick, but basically I've been
Heavily
hearing
invested.
about this camera that every other camera that does the tracking, the way it's doing it, needs an outboard processor, and this new one does not. So they built the camera big enough to put the processor in it. So I'm expecting it to be the size of a basketball.
It's this best.
Like
how many rack mount units do I need for this camera?
It's like we don't have an outboard processor in it anymore. Yeah, but it takes up. I need a chain to hold it up. Like, what do we do? No, I don't. I'm sure it's awesome. I don't know what the price points are. I don't know how useful it's going to be, but I definitely am going to try to get my hands on it.
Use the same processor they did and that was outboard. I question it because those keep dying.
Well, like I said, I'm just saying.
Do the research, brother. Tell us all about it.
Come back for more. Yep.
And then just be aware that there's something out there that Sony did with a camera. You should probably look into it.
Okay.
Wow.
That sounds like stuff.
I will.
That sounds like clickbait, but that's really all the information I have.
Click.
We are not getting paid by Sony to do clickbait.
No, we are
shit
not.
Either.
No, we are not getting paid by Sony.
I don't even know anybody.
Anyway,
Sure.
All right. So
What else? There's some things.
A couple of things that I saw, and these were all, like I said, this is all post InfoComm stuff that I wish I would have gone over and looked at. One was from Marshall Furniture. They make a floor wedge mount for ceiling microphone arrays. Yes, I said that.
That was weird.
Yeah, wrap your head around
that thing.
I'm gonna put this in the Google searchifier.
I'm going to buy one of those in my life.
I'm not even sure if this is
that one time I need that one thing.
I'm not sure this isn't actually a real product, as much as they maybe were showing off a prototype or something. But fundamentally, think about your square 2x2, or I'm sorry, clear one, your not 2x2 ceiling tile arrays. And what this was a floor wedge like a front of a stage to mount it at a 45 degree, aiming at the back at the stage to mic people on stage using a beam steering microphone array, but on the floor.
That was very creative thought process. So think of like the steerable mic array had a baby with a stage monitor, and then that's what you got.
Oh, I thought it was a stage monitor when you sent it. I was like, what do we care about a stage monitor?
And then I looked at it, and it was one of those black TCC2s that you
that's
like,
interesting because, the little... The
Mark
little
likes it because it's now an analog mic on the floor.
The little itty bitty Sennheiser one that came out, that was how they approached when they first were launching. Like, you could, for like events, for like little point put in places. And I was like, that's odd. Like, how the hell would I mount this?
The Team Connect Medium?
The little guy, yeah. And so they advertise it that way, or that
thing's not that small.
No, it's not. And so the fact that like, if you're doing live events, you could just drop this here and there. I was like, I never had thought about beam forming as like a drop down, throw down style of thing, but here we are.
Work. For presentations?
Well, or would it work? That's the thing, is that all the software is going to be flipped. So I'm not sure how well it's going to work.
Well, anything you can control that lobe and really dial that in can be worse. Think about it more for like scenics and things like that, where you got like a stage where you want to have like some specific miking and locations. I could see that being a thing.
So I guess Sennheiser and all you mic array people out there, just start creating your software with a Z-axis and it'll solve our problem.
To me, this is like the line arraying of microphones. Like you want to like drive that very specific and have a very narrow form, like in this one location. Like there it is. I'm looking at it right there. That's
I don't know.
Stage
what if
wedge
you
with a microphone.
I'm thinking of like what if you're just trying to capture audio for a stage presentation with 2 or 3 people up there, like
that's what I was thinking.
Like an Avixa presentation, for example.
The throwdown scenario. And this is where, Mark, your scenario I think would work. Take the analog mix out of this, and you'd put 2 of them up on the stage, and you just mic'd the stage.
Right.
Maybe even one.
Yeah.
It does put it far enough away.
It keeps you from having a road crew and 72 channels, and
I got like 2 or 3 seats on the hype bus for the analog out of the digital microphone. Do you guys want to get on that? Got a couple seats.
I will get on that only in this bizarro reverse world that we're looking at right now.
Look, I'm not necessarily in a seat, but I am holding on to one of the rails and riding along.
It's comfy.
I'm watching your weird analog bus go down the road to see what happens. But.
Hey, look,
yeah, it is what it is. Sometimes. It's crazy. That's fine.
Okay.
No, that was cool. I did like that.
So what about from you guys? What stuff did you see afterwards that we didn't talk about, look at, or anything, or we weren't aware of last week?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. Now, this is not a new idea again, but Middle Atlantic and the idea that they're getting into the acoustic panels and not just the foam blocks, right? Now, we all know acoustic panels and decorative ones are not new. Everybody's got them. in the drop-in ceiling ones, but it was Middle Atlantic now. Like, hey, look, our mount actually fits in here, and it kind of goes in, and I'm like, huh.
Yeah, I don't know if it was because they had a lot of those on their site, right? All those little drop-ins, and I don't know if maybe their site just works now, and like you can actually find that stuff.
No,
like,
the Legrand site is still just as awkward as it's always been.
But like, there's a lot of times I'm like, where has this shit been? Like these seemed like they were low-hanging fruit, easy victories for like sound treatments for drop-in 2x2 grids and things. Like what has taken so long for this stuff to hit the market?
I think these are.
It's just not been with Legrand.
Man,
and I think these are new for them, but I'm sure somebody else has been making them.
We've never seen it because it was hidden 7 layers deep into the accessories of accessories of accessories.
I mean, acoustical specialty companies have this stuff. I mean, we bought it
they do,
but now it's easier to purchase is the way I'm looking at it. Like, I need a few of these. I don't need to go to contact another acoustical company just for a single order. Because
I get questioned all the time when I try to buy acoustic panels of, that should be interior design.
That's FF&E. Why are you spending an FF&E budget?
Why are you doing this from Amazon? You can't do, and now it's to Mark's point. Yes, it's FF. Look, I'm buying a podium, and this just happens to come with it. Look, it just happens to come. Great.
That's why I like it.
Yeah.
And so, we should probably take a step back. For the most part, I think they have a few other ones in their line, but Middle Atlantic now has a line. They're called the Focal Point Nevo line of acoustic tiles that drop into a 2x2 ceiling grid, and they have wedges, diffusers, some that are just flush if you still want to maintain the look of the room. Others that are kind of the more angled corner pieces or whatever. So you can build out whatever you need, almost like as you've seen in studio environments, for recording studios where they've got all the crazy and very specifically placed acoustic tiles. And usually on the ceiling, all you're doing is hanging with some baffling an acoustic panel from the ceiling to just kind of create a dead zone. But you can now do that in our environments in a classroom space that might need a better better acoustic treatments.
Maybe that might be one of my takes, and it could be a hot take of some sort that I didn't notice that like as big as like UC typically is at these shows, I saw like the acknowledgement that like, man, we have to put this stuff in shitty rooms a lot. So what can we do to manage the shitty room? And it wasn't like these plug-in technologies as much as it was like, let's treat the terribleness of this space before we think about the technology. And I saw a lot of stuff geared towards making your UC space better acoustically, visually, all that stuff, the supporting cast of technology, not just the plug-in widget boxes. So I saw a lot of different things like announced in that regard, and so maybe that was one of the takeaways I had from afar.
That's a good point. I mean, there's been a lot of focus in recent years on better technologies for UC applications, and yet as we work through that, we always like to say you can't beat physics. Well, in this particular scenario with some acoustic treatment ceiling tiles, you are modifying the physics of the space. So you're working within the actual physical environment to improve the audio of whatever you're doing in the room. So this is probably going to be an easy add for the right space. I'm thinking, like, for example, we have an audiology program on campus as part of our nursing program and health sciences campus, where, hey, dropping a bunch of these in the ceiling is probably going to dramatically improve what they're doing in some of these spaces at very low cost and low impact for us to do.
And we don't have to contact facilities. We just do it ourselves.
I did see...
I tell them afterwards, I installed ceiling tiles.
Doc, what? This is a union place. You're like,
I saw
just 4 of them. Go find them.
Yeah.
There was a post somebody had talked about again. Also, we had talked about previously that nano whatever the hell technology, the sound technology, but somebody was bringing up like acoustic drapes recently, and somebody had saw some acoustic drapes also at the show. I didn't get the company, but maybe if I can dig it up, I'll put it in there. But it's in this same kind of conversation I think there's a focus that in the collaborative piece of the industry, we have to do easier ways to treat spaces that are not battling with architects. Because we're not going to get anything. We're going to get glass and concrete boxes, so go nuts.
Jamie, to your comment about trying to sneak in acoustic panels and getting pushback from facilities because they consider that, furnishings and treatment. What I like about it, and I don't know how it happened, I'm sure it was an accident or somebody just never pushed back, but University of Wyoming is the first place I have ever worked where they have acoustic treatments in almost every classroom space. as just a matter of course. And in some cases, it's as simple as just putting a couple panels on a concrete block wall because they recognize
something. And
yes,
we're aware
that they recognize that these big glass and concrete cubes are terribly acoustic. Terrible acoustic.
Terrible.
You heard me. Terribly acoustic.
Terrible.
And this is not going to fix all of that, but it's going to help, and it certainly can't hurt to have 12 of these in a room
minimal
at,
investment.
$200 a piece, and yeah, why not?
Got to pay attention to your RT60s. It's important.
Get in there. Yeah.
Well, what do you think? Okay. Was it a worthwhile trip?
I don't know, man. Ask me when I feel better.
Cool.
Well, you get out of InfoComm what you put into it. By the way, Larry dropped one in here, then pieced out. Do we want to talk about this thing that Larry saw?
Throw it in
there.
So
Larry dropped another camera in here. Justin had just beat the Sony. So this is a from Lumens, a 4K dual lens voice tracking camera.
Whoa.
It's probably going to rival the Sony, I would guess.
I don't know anything about this one. This was Larry's pick of stuff that he saw this week after he got back and didn't see live. But
it might be
looks like it's got, a wide-angle lens plus a big PTZ head on it, and I can't see what else is on
you guys
here.
were on the floor. Did you hear a lot of hoopla around, tracking and automation and blah, blah, that was always a wave of craziness over the previous years?
Yes. From the players from whom you'd expected, who all in recent years have bought other companies and are now shoehorning that into everything they do. That was out there.
Who could that be?
Well, there's two big players doing that right now, and I've told both of them I have no interest in putting a giant outboard processor somewhere in my rooms.
Don't look at Sony.
Or don't. We're not getting paid by Sony.
Do you need that? So, ask yourself, can you accomplish that with a couple easy-to-use buttons somewhere on one UI?
You just told me to get rid of the touch panel.
You can't.
One UI is the key word here, Chris.
All I have is a remote of which I've cut off 4 buttons. So
we got to glue one button back on.
Got to glue them back on now. Damn it. I will say in general there is a lot of, let's say, cautious interest, and I'll use this term. I like this term better, in automatic cameras, whatever that means. Is that auto tracking, auto framing, auto presets, whatever that is, whatever the model is, some auto AI, whatever stuff. There's cautious interest in that from a lot of people. I don't think anyone's going whole hog. Yeah, you've got your Northwestern Kellogg School of Business or somebody who's like, we did every room, but that's a different world. That's not every space on a campus. I'd see that as a value add in the right space if done correctly, and it makes the room more engaging for people who are remote. That's great. I don't know. Verdict's out on that. So
okay, fair enough. So that was the trends, huh? We got there, saw it. Of course, there were goggles and everything everywhere. I'm sure
there was no goggles anywhere.
I only saw one 21:9 monitor, and guess where it was? In Cusis's booth.
The 69 content.
Oh, you're right. There was one in there.
No, it actually had the meeting content. It was properly being used. Okay. It was correctly designed.
Was it though? Because that's the one where they had a 21:9 display that they then showed a laptop going into it showing 16:9 content on a 21:9 display.
I didn't see
I saw that twice. I saw that twice from 2 big manufacturers, one of whom was Cusis. And I won't say who the other one was, but Epson, who also had a big 21:9 projection display on which they were displaying 16:9 content. And I'm like, that's exactly why this will never work. So, yeah.
But they need.
I will say there was a lot of 21:9. Yeah, I put my messages on the side. There's a lot of 21:9 LCD monitors now from multiple manufacturers. I saw those in a lot of places.
Something that I noticed this year, there was a lot of OSHA codes and things being broken. So I'm just going to mention this, and who you are.
Talk about that dude.
So there was one big company that was already mentioned on the show.
Rigger on the floor just tearing shit up.
There was one company that was already mentioned within the past 10 to 15 minutes on this show.
Sony?
Who had well over the 9 maximum people on your second level. And then I started looking around, and we called them out on it, and they're like,
swing in the breeze.
They were like, I didn't even know. Isn't that just meant for the stairs? I was like, dude, come on. He was like, no. So the stairs, you can't have more than 9 people on the stairs, but the platform doesn't matter. I was like, there's a limit to this platform.
Yep.
I don't know. Then you go to another booth with the second level, 9 people only up here, and there's like 25. Like that was everywhere. Then you're going through the first day of the show, and all the people are
code compliance here.
Standing on top.
Vegas, that's no shit. They will show up and drag your ass out.
Standing on top of an 8 to 10 foot ladder, working on direct view LED walls, and everybody's taking pictures.
Of course.
And I was like, what is going on with this show? There was
the show must go on.
That's the problem. There were so many OSHA rules being broken, and there was no compliance.
The A team is on the floor just prowling around. Where did you get the B team coming in just trying to make it all work? Yep.
I have noticed that about the booths that have kind of that coveted second floor little private lounge meeting whatever area.
Coveted.
It can be coveted. Depending on
unique. Well, but there's a bunch of them now that do it, and some who used to do it routinely now no longer do it. And I think this is part of that reason is you have to limit the physical number of people up there because you're basically on a you're on a truss with some thin MDF spread across it that is going to collapse down and crush everyone below.
Some lawn on there.
And so some of the booths when they do that, you have to like check in and they let 3 or 4 people up there at a time, sort of thing. And other ones they didn't even have a little velvet rope and just 47
there was
people
no
up there.
One checking in anybody anywhere.
Yeah.
Wow.
The hardest security was at the show floor entrance. Once you got past that, it was the Wild West on the inside. No OSHA,
I would like to know
rules. You just do whatever you want.
I'd like to know who ruined that for us, based on clearly what they did last year, because they were not only checking badges this year, they were having you take your badge off and they'd put it down on a table
and then they flip it
TSA.
Over. Oh yeah, they were like they would pull you over and they would like, is this a fake one? Are we going to have to take you to AV jail? It's like, holy shit, man.
Sir, we need strip search over here.
Yeah. Sir, pull over to the side. We've got to investigate.
They had a little meeting room set up as AV jail.
Yeah.
You go in there, let you out in 8 hours. Damn it. Give me your phone.
Box you in.
It's terrible.
Oh, man. Cool.
No, there's just concrete block. You stand.
Well, sounds like fun. Sounds like you guys had a blast. So
sorry, I'm hitting random buttons here. Sorry about that.
It's okay. Twice now. They don't know.
We're just
I know they don't know, but I'm hitting random.
Things.
I know you
they
are.
do
I
know.
hear.
They can
I'm
hear
reaching over and hitting buttons
in.
at random. So
yeah, but we'll get it in post.
Well, thanks for taking us on
Mark's problem.
On the tour.
Yeah.
So for those of you who weren't able to attend, that was what we did on the tour, and then it was a lot. There were some interesting things there. And
sorry if I gave you my COVID.
You got it without getting
or
COVID.
not.
Sorry. Send it to him in the mail.
Well, we've managed to ruin yet another episode of AV SuperFriends Off the Rails. You can contact us with questions, topic ideas, or general complaints at mailbag@avsuperfriends.com. If you complain loud enough, we might just invite you on the show.
Nice work, everyone. Sharp broadcast. Really good. Everyone on the floor as well. Really a lot of hustle. I liked it.
The opinions expressed by the AV SuperFriends are solely those of the individuals and do not represent their respective institutions, organizations, companies, or clients.
Get ready to plug in and rock out at the most electrifying event of the summer. It's time for Widget Fest, the ultimate celebration of audiovisual innovation. Join us for 3 days of non-stop excitement where the biggest names in commercial presentation electronics take the stage and showcase the latest and greatest in adapters and widgets. Widget Fest! From HDMI to USB-C, from balanced to unbalanced, from SDI to RGB, HV, and everything in between. Widget Fest has got you covered, a massive venue filled with cutting-edge technology and electrifying performances. Feel the energy as the biggest names in the industry come together to unveil the latest adapters, converters, and widgets live on stage. Widget Fest. Immerse yourself in a world of audiovisual wonders with interactive exhibits, hands-on demos, and exclusive product launches. Whether you're a tech enthusiast, a professional in the field, or just someone who loves to stay ahead of the curve, Widget Fest is the place to be. Widget Fest! But that's not all. Widget Fest isn't just about gadgets and gizmos. It's also about the experience. Enjoy delicious food from gourmet vendors, refreshing drinks, connect with fellow tech enthusiasts from around the globe, and dive for loose change in the world's second largest playpen ball pit. It's a weekend you'll never forget. Widget Fest! So mark your calendars and get ready to experience the future of audio-visual technology at Widget Fest 2024. Tickets are selling fast, so don't miss your chance to be part of the excitement. Get ready to plug in, turn up the volume, and join us for the ultimate celebration of adapters and widgets. Widget Fest, coming soon! Widget Fest, brought to you by Independent Amalgamated.